Good morning, good afternoon, depending on where you are in the world. Welcome to today's live training session. We're going to be covering, giving you 7 steps to building an unbreakable client attraction machine so you can dominate your market. Perfect. So look, let's dive right in. Looks like you can see in here it's clearly. So again, look, just to recap, we're going to be covering 7 steps to build an unbreakable client attraction machine in your recruitment and search business so you can dominate your market. Basically, we're going to be sort of pulling back the curtain on how to bring in new clients into your recruitment and search business on demand, right? So one of the biggest hurdles or roadblocks that we hear from recruitment search business that we speak to is that they're just not able to bring in the volume of clients they want or the quality of clients they want. You know, everything's a bit ad hoc, everything's a bit all over the place. So we're going to be sort of walking you through how you can build a process so that you can really turn that into a predictable machine, right? So our clients, so the recruitment search consultants we help that do this, are able to predictably bring clients into their business. So here's just very quickly some of the things you're going to get. We're going to be unveiling the secret to magnetically attracting your dream clients into your business in any market, regardless of the economic climate, and even if you're a smaller firm. We're going to be helping you unlock the exact blueprint the top performing recruitment and search business owners use to build business development campaigns that actually deliver results. I'm going to be revealing why 87% of recruitment and search business owners struggle to win new clients and how to make sure you're not one of them. Perfect. So I see there's quite a few people online here. Again, before we dive into the main content, a quick disclaimer. We've allowed for about an hour today, but I think it'll probably be around 30 to 45 minutes of content. We have got some time for Q&A at the end if you have any questions. There'll be no sales pitch at the end. We're not selling anything. There's nothing to sell here. We're just going to give as much value as we can. If you do have any questions, there's a chat box here that some of you put your name in already. Again, if you have any questions, put them in there. We'll answer as many of them as we can. Sort of what I guess a commitment that we want from you, right? So we're going to give you some of our best content, but a commitment that we want from you is that you're going to be fully engaged. So that means shut down your emails, shut down your phones, any social media, any distractions that you possibly have during this sort of 45, 60 minutes time with each other. Shut them all down and just dedicate yourself to consuming this content. If you're not willing to do that, then again, you're free to leave. If you are, just give me a yes in the chat box. If you're willing to be sort of fully committed to taking in what we're going to say, asking questions, engaging, and getting the most value you can from the time we have together. Just give me a yes if you are on board with that. If it's a no, then you're free to leave. Again, no hard feelings. Again, I know everyone's busy, but we want people here who are committed to this training, committed to taking in the contents. Give us a yes in the chat box. Terry, anything you want to add before we dive in?
Yeah, just say, give us a yes. So Barry, Natalie, great. Henry, yeah, just give us a yes in the box. Drew said this is absolutely free, and people ask us all the time, why don't we charge for this? Because the value that we're going to share with you, some would say, is priceless. And the reason we don't charge for it, we want to demonstrate our authority in this area. Adam promises me concentrate on the webinar, by the way, Drew. So we want to demonstrate our authority to you. And one of the best ways of doing that is giving you as much high value content as possible. So and also want you to know that we're really grateful that you've made that decision to join us today. And we're looking forward to it. So Drew, without further ado, let's get going.
My name's Drew Edwards. This is Terry Edwards, the father and son team. And basically, I think Terry, for you a bit longer, for me, 10 years, been helping recruitment search business owners build out or map out client attraction campaigns so they can bring in, more high quality clients so they can, for the right fees. So effectively they can make more placements and grow the business they want. So that's what we do. Two things that we're seeing happen recently in the business development side of recruitment, right? Perhaps why your marketing isn't as effective as you want, right? So two things we're seeing going on. One, more and more recruitment and search business owners are entering the market every single day, right? Recruitment is one of the industries. It's good and bad thing. It's got a low barrier to entry, so you don't really need much to set up a business. But because of that, what we're seeing is a lot of what we call copycat campaigns, right? So there's more, you probably market your business and promote your business in the same way that most of your competitors do. And they probably do it in the same way that they do. And they probably got that from, their first job. And, everyone's doing the same thing. And it's not that the methods are bad or don't work, whatever, but the more and more that they get used, the less and less that you stand out if you're using them, right? So if you're not standing out in the marketplace, your clients have no way to differentiate your services from everybody else, right? So what ends up happening is you either get no response, you get completely ignored, or you win the easy to win clients. And when I say easy to win clients, I mean clients who they give you a job order, but it tends to be a job order they've given to multiple firms, right? So it's not that you can't fill that job order, but they're harder and harder to fill, which means we're seeing a lot of, especially on contingency, a lot of fill rates drop as well. So people are filling less and less roles, so they're working longer and longer hours for less and less reward. Again, give me a yes or no if you've seen some of that in your business or in your market. Give me a yes or no if that makes sense to you. This is why you're doing that. The other thing that's going on is we're seeing your clients, your potential clients, getting more and more sophisticated with the type of messaging we're putting out, right? So we need to approach things differently, and that's some of what we're going to go through today. So give me a yes or no if that makes sense. And Terry, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, it reminds me, if you've ever had the pleasure, or pleasure, not sure if that's the right word, but watching youngsters play football, probably anything under the age of about 7 or 8. If you watch youngsters of that age playing football, you'll notice that as they're playing football, all 20 players rather on the pitch, they all go to where the ball is. So you'll get a group of players all around the ball, and the rest of the pitch is empty. And as the ball comes across to the other side, everybody goes across to that side, and they're all doing the same thing. And as you watch as a spectator, you're thinking to yourself, if only a couple of you were to go across perhaps the other side of the pitch, because there's nobody there, and you'd have a clear run towards goal. And it's very much like that with a lot of recruiters. They do what they did when they were employed as a consultant. They go to their competitor's website and see what the competitors are putting on their website. They then create a website that's very similar to their competitors. The consequence of that is that they're not standing out. Added to which, 80% of recruitment businesses that set up today won't be around 5 years from now. Only 2% will be highly successful and become multi-million businesses, but the majority won't succeed. Now think about that. As most recruiters copy what other recruiters are doing, you're copying something that actually doesn't work for most people. You can see the consequences of that. If you want to stand out from the crowd, you really need to do things different and look at what everybody else is doing and do something completely different, because that's where you're going to get the success. That's where, going back to the football analogy, you're going to have a clear run. You're going to stand out from the crowd. Just give me a yes if that's all making sense in the chat box, so we all know on the same page. If it's not making sense, by the way, let us know. And it's important that when we're sharing this information, that is making sense to you and we're all on the same page. So just give us, yeah, we're good. Back to you, Drew.
Awesome. So look, let's dive into 7 steps. What I want to do is if you grab a pen and paper or iPad or whatever, and something to write down some notes, right? I'm going to give you the seven steps that you need in your client tracking system now, and then we're going to sort of break them down into a bit more detail as to exactly what that would look like for you, your firm. As we said before, any questions as we go along, just post them in the chat box, right? But 7 steps, right? So number one, the first thing you need, step number one is market. And Terry, can you do me a favor and write this in the chat box as we go?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, it's number one's market, right? Step 2, message. Step 3, media. Step 4, irresistible offer. Step 5, lead capture. Step 6, short-term follow-up. And then step 7, lastly, long-term follow-up. Right, so just to recap very quickly, so you can write down, we've got market, message, media, irresistible offer, lead capture, short-term follow-up, long-term follow-up. I'm going to sort of be breaking those down into a bit more detail to show you what they'll look like in your business. But first of all, I just want to check in, does that make sense? Give me yes or no if you've got that, right? Market, message, media, irresistible offer, lead capture, short-term follow-up, long-term follow-up. It is in the, Terry, I think you sent it just to me there.
Oh, sorry.
Right, I'm going to put it in there just for everyone else, right? Market, message, media, that should be irresistible offer, lead capture, perfect, right? Elke's got it, right? So for each section, what I'm going to do is going to break down, what it is, why it's important, what you need in your business, and some of the mistakes that we see recruitment and search business owners make. What I will say is like these 7 steps, they haven't changed over the years, right? What's changed is the detail in the 7 steps, right? So this has been the way that we built campaigns out, for the last 10 years. Terry, I think you've got 25 years. The 7 steps haven't changed. What they look like, how they work in this economy as well now, that's what shifted, right? So number one is market, right? So just to explain what it is, market effectively is the audience. This is the people who you're going after, right? So your ideal dream prospect. So I want you to think about, in an ideal world, if you could handpick the best type of clients to work with, the best roles to work with, what would they look like, right? And the clearer we can be on this, the better, right? Some of the Well, one of the mistakes that we see a lot of people making this is that they're not clear on who their ideal client is. They're not clear on what problems they have. They're not clear on how they can solve them, right? So when they're putting campaigns out, whether it's social media posts, an email, even a telephone script, whatever, it's not hitting the pain points of their ideal prospects, and therefore they're not getting the response that they want, right? So you want to be clear on who your ideal client is, what pains, frustrations, wants, and desires they have. And the clearer you can be on that, the easier it is for us to build out the rest of the machine, right? Again, just want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Give me a yes or no in the chat box if that makes sense. If no, any questions, let me know as well. And again, just another point to add before Tara comes to you in a second is, especially in this economy, right? So especially as market shifts, whether it's I don't know what sector you guys work in, right? But whether it's contracting or whether it's buoyant, right? You want to make sure your market is where the money is. And I think sometimes one of the sort of mistakes that people make, recruiters make, is that the roles that you work directly impacts how much revenue you can make, right? And the fee you can charge. So think about, what is your ideal fee? What's your ideal clients? And go after the clients who are willing to pay your fee. Again, so when checking that makes sense, give me yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you want to add to that just in terms of market?
Yeah, I always use the analogy of, imagine that you're a master butcher and you have the finest steaks. In fact, you go so far to say you've got the finest steaks in the world. My wife is vegetarian. Marketing to my wife about your fine steaks is a complete and utter waste of time. You're marketing to the wrong market. Zero interest. You could then say you can have these finest steaks for $1, €1, £1. It makes absolutely no difference because it's the wrong market. And often it's when we talk to recruiters about their marketing and they say, my marketing doesn't seem to be working, upon closer inspection, is because a lot of the people they're marketing to are not decision makers. Often they're candidates, by the way. And think about that, because most recruiters don't have an issue getting candidates. Their challenge is getting clients. But you're spending all your time and effort marketing to candidates who will never, ever give you a job order, or very rarely, I should say never ever, because there isn't such a thing as never ever, or least likely to give you a job order. In fact, who you should be marketing is to the hiring manager who's got the authority to give you that job order. And that's it's a simple, but a mistake that's made quite often by recruiters, regardless of the number of years experience, sending the wrong message, the right message to the wrong market. Back to you, Drew.
Well, so that brings us on to step 2, which is, again, some checking that makes sense. Give us yes or no, first of all. Whilst doing that, it's going to come on step two in the process, right? So we've got number 1's market, number 2 is message, right? And as Terry said, we need a message that hits the market we're trying to attract, right? So, I mean, Terry gave a few examples there because these go hand in hand, right? But in terms of market, right, you want to have as many of your ideal prospects in your audience or in your world as possible. So look at your LinkedIn contacts, look at your email database, look at your telephone list, anywhere that you market. The more of your ideal clients we can have in that world, the better, right? So again, one of the mistakes people make is they do a lot of candidate work. They've got big databases of candidates, not a big database of clients, right? And they're taking this big database of candidates and they're marketing those same candidates to the same clients, right? We need to be consistently growing the size of our reachable audience, right? And then once we as well as doing that, we want to have a message that cuts through all the noise and gets them to respond, right? Probably 5-10 years ago, the message used to be about recruitment, right? We could get away with talking about recruitment. As more and more recruiters are entering the market, what we're seeing now with our clients and with the recruitment sector help, the more and more you talk about recruitment, the more and more you get ignored. And the more and more you look like every single lookalike firm, right? So if you go back and look at your last emails, last social media posts, anywhere that you've mentioned recruitment and you haven't got a response, it's probably because you've used the word recruitment. Again, that may sound counterintuitive because obviously that is what you do, that's the service you offer. But what we find gets a much better response is, rather than thinking about recruitment, think about the outcome that your service gives the client, right? So, and the way to do that is think about the outcome that your candidates give once you place them. Think about your ideal client and think about the roles that the ideal roles you want to work on and the outcome that the candidates give, right? And it's going to vary from market to market. But if you recruit for sales professionals, the outcome that the candidate gives is going to be, increase in revenue, increase sales, increase profits, right? That sort of thing, right? So rather than talking about recruitment, we talk about to the hiring manager, hey, Mr. Hiring Manager, do you want to increase profit? That would be your message, right? Rather than the vehicle to get them there would be recruitment, but the outcome is going to be profit. And again, depending on what sector you work in, if you're in, Terry, I know you used to work in IT, it might be finishing projects on time and to budget. That's the outcome. Forget recruitment for a second. The more we can talk about the outcome that the hiring manager wants, your ideal clients want, the better response we'll get, the more attention you'll get. Again, so I want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you want to add to that? There's a question here from Melky that I'll get to.
Yes, if you staying with a sales role, if you say to most CROs or VPs of sales, are you recruiting? The majority of those people will say, I'm not recruiting, because they have no interest in recruiting. But if you were to say something like, if I could introduce you to a top performing sales professional that could increase your market share, would you be interested in meeting them? Now the thinking changes, because that's what they want. They want an individual that's going to increase their market share and increase their profits. And we can sometimes get caught up in, yeah, I'm a recruiter, so let me tell you all about the recruitment and the process that we go through. Quite frankly, the hiring manager couldn't care less. They want the outcome from what you do. So as Drew said, I used to be an IT recruiter. So we talk to IT directors about finding top individuals to ensure that IT projects are delivered on time and to budget, because that's what the IT director wants. But the majority of the time, if I said to an IT director, are you recruiting? They go, oh, no, at the moment, we're fine at the moment. And no manager that's got a team can claim to have a team that's performing at 100%. Ever. It just doesn't happen. In fact, you're probably all familiar with the 80-20 principle. And what you find is a manager's got a team of 10 people, 20% of that team is providing 80% of the sales if it's a sales role. But they will always have underperformers. And as a line manager, the line manager is spending most of their time with the underperformers. So if you can talk about saving them time, but by improving the performance of the team, now you're going to get their attention. If you're going to talk about increasing market share, now you're going to get their attention. I hope that makes sense. So it's talking about the outcome they're going to get from engaging you, rather than, I'm a great recruiter, I've been doing this for 20 years and my mission statement's this, and we've got a large database. They couldn't care less. Back to you, Drew.
Cool. Again, Elke's asked a question: when running a Dripify campaign, how can you identify and tag your contacts so you can distinguish and segregate? Elke, can you give me a bit? Can you elaborate on that a bit more? Distinguish between what and what, and I'll come back to that. But yeah, again, everyone else out, hopefully that makes sense. Any other questions? Put them in the chat box as well. We'll come to them. So we've got number one: we need to get the right market, need the right message. Number three, right, is we need the right media. We need the right media to reach these people. So depending on who your market is, they're going to be more active on particular platforms. I think, for us, obviously, we target recruiters, right? So LinkedIn is a big platform we use. Maybe for a lot of you, LinkedIn might be a platform you use. But some of our clients, their ideal clients don't, even though they might have a LinkedIn account, they don't really use LinkedIn, right? So they need to pick different medias, right? But the way it works with the media is, one, we need to know who our market is, because we need to know what media they're on. But two, the more media we can use in our business to reach our ideal clients, the better. Sometimes, again, probably maybe 2 years ago, 3 years ago, you could get away with just using one media, right? You could, whether it's just cold calling or just email or just LinkedIn, right? What we're seeing more and more is you have like what we call omnipresence. You need to be on multiple platforms, hitting each one of your prospects from multiple angles before you even get a response, let alone a sale, let alone a job order, right? So sometimes I see questions in Facebook groups and forums from recruitment business owners like yourselves, and they'll say, like, what should I do? Should I do email, or should I do direct mail, or should I do Facebook or LinkedIn? Right now, more and more, it's both. The answer is always both, right, or all. From your prospects point of view, you're gonna have, or from you think about your market, you're gonna have some that respond better to email, some respond better to phone calls, some respond better to a LinkedIn message, some respond better to a Facebook invite, some respond better to direct mail, and they're gonna get some who don't respond until they've been hit from all angles, right? And that's just the way it is now with the amount of noise that's out in the marketplace, right? But it's almost like with the first three steps in the system, it's almost like a three-legged stool, right? If one of them is not working properly, all of your marketing falls down. And this is probably where these first three steps probably where we see a lot of people go wrong. Is they've either got they've got the right market, they're very clear on who their ideal client is, and they're targeting people who the market's buoyant. There's money to be made there, but then they've got the wrong message, right? They're talking about recruitment rather than talking about the outcome, or they've got the right market, they've got the right message, but they're using the wrong medias or not enough medias, right? So you need to have all three of these working in conjunction with each other. And a better, more efficiently you can have them working, the better response you get, right? So if you get it nailed on, right, and you get the right market, and you go to them with the right message using the right media channels, you'll have more leads than you can handle. Again, we had one of our recruiters just last week generate 200 inbound inquiries, not from doing anything different or anything special, really. It was just offering a PDF ebook, right? But you had the right market, the right list, the right message, because the ebook wasn't about recruitment, wasn't about something that he did, it was about the outcome, and then he used the right media, right? So the more you can have these working in conjunction, the better response you'll get. Again, just want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. I'm gonna handle some of these questions. All right, right. So look again, Terry. Anything to add before I get to the questions? First of all,
Yeah. So just on the media, most recruiters use LinkedIn. But here's something worth making a note of. Only about 28, well, they argue between 30 and 25% of the workforce are on LinkedIn. So if I was competing directly against you as a recruiter, and let's say you, Mike, and I'm competing against you, and you've told the hiring manager that you're going to use LinkedIn to find your candidates, I'm going to point out that's only a small percentage of the market. So that's worth considering. If you use emails, I don't have to tell you this, most of your emails that you send out never get opened. If you do a mass email campaign, you'll do well to get a 40% email opening rate. So if you're using emails, that's not foolproof. And the point that Drew made about this omnipresent, to be using as many platforms as possible. And it's worth remembering, going back to LinkedIn, that in my opinion, only recruiters spend as much time as spend more time than anybody else on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn is like the recruiter's third arm, so to speak. As recruiters, we're on there all the time. But a lot of our hiring managers are not. But we make the assumption, well, I go onto LinkedIn every day and I check all my messages every day. Surely my hiring managers do that. You're making a very deadly assumption. And Drew then talked about, no, I don't know if you did, or somebody mentioned about text messaging. So opening rates on sending text messages is incredibly high and very effective. And here's something else as well. Majority of your competitors wouldn't dream of using text messages to reach out to clients or to candidates. Think about that for a minute. Can you see the advantage you would have over them if you're using that medium to reach out to clients and candidates? Because most of your competitors don't. But they're just a few examples. But you've got to use the medium that your target, you've got to be where your target audience are hanging out, be it LinkedIn, be it Facebook. You've got to be using the right platform. And most recruiters don't know, and then make the assumption, well, my clients aren't on Instagram or Facebook. And it's just a personal opinion rather than the fact. Unless you've actually tested it and seen it for yourself, how would you know? Back to you, Drew.
Of course, just quick couple of questions from Adam and Elke. So Adam said, what do you feel works better, a call or a message to give the first approach of outcome? So what works best? Again, Adam, so I'm not sure if I answered this already, but it depends, right? So for some of your clients, the first approach is going to be an email. For some of them, it's going to be a phone call. For some of them, it's going to be text messages. That's why omnipresence is so important. So you really want to hit them with all. Again, not all at once, but in a sequence. Again, the sequence, the order of that sequence doesn't matter as long as they hit all. The way that we do it is we tend to start with LinkedIn and email, and then we're calling people that respond. We're calling people that respond to the outreach via LinkedIn and email, right? So we'll do. So I think there's one going out in a minute. Actually, we'll do an email campaign, offering something of value. Again, we'll explain more about that in a minute, and then we'll call everybody who responds. Right, that's the best way we do it. So we don't really, and that's the way we teach our clients as well. Like our clients don't really cold call; they pick up the phone to call people who have already responded to a campaign they've done. Right, so everyone they're speaking to knows who they are, has a need in the outcome they can provide. Right, again, Adam, give me a yes if that makes sense. Elke's asked two questions here. Yeah, is there a way to segment your LinkedIn contacts between candidates and clients? Not. There's not a quick way. If that's what you're asking. I sometimes think so. If you're using automation to do a campaign like Dripify or Linked Help or whatever, So I think you mentioned Dripify earlier. I would probably use a campaign I know you said you felt like a bit like a numpty. You said sending the wrong message to the wrong group. I sometimes think that's probably the quickest way to sort between the two, because they come back and say, look, I'm a candidate or I'm not a client, right? And that's again, it's a bit of a painful way to do it, but it's probably the quickest way. Otherwise, it's a case of doing it manually and sorting through them. In terms of, is there a great platform to do both LinkedIn outreach and email outreach? There's quite a few. There's none that I'd constantly recommend as the best, but there's quite a few if you do a quick Google search. I think Dripify does it actually, if I remember rightly. I think is it Seamless AI does it? There's quite a few there. I'm not sure if you remember.
I'm not sure actually, Drew. Sitting here.
Don't need to be quick. Happy to do it one by one. I think that you can. I think you can tag them in Dripify. I'm not too familiar with Dripify itself, Elkie, so I can't answer that specifically. I'd probably reach out to their support. So I hope that helps. Cool. So look, moving on to number four. We've got market. We've got number one, market. Number two, message. Number three, media. Number four, we've got irresistible offer. Right. So irresistible offer is something that we can offer to these prospects, offer to our ideal clients, that's basically low risk without them having to effectively give up anything, right? So sometimes this webinar, for example, is a form of irresistible offer, right? Because we're saying, hey, look, we're going to show you how to get this outcome. We're going to show you how to build the client attraction process, and there's no real risk to you. All you have to risk is really, I guess, your time, your name and email address, right? But there's no sales pitch or nothing like that. So it's something that provides the outcome that your ideal clients want without them having to give anything up or give anything major up, right? And this could be a video, could be a webinar like this, could be a PDF, could be, it could be anything, right? It could be an interview you did with a client or candidate, could be anything, right? So to give you an example of one of our clients did recently, he went to Chat GPT to do this. He put together a report that was like, I can't remember that title, but 5 things to know if you want to increase your revenue, for example, in SaaS, whatever it was, right? A resource that provides that gives the client an outcome that his candidates could provide, right? So again, depends on what market you're in, who you recruit for, what job roles you recruit for. Think about the outcome that your candidates can provide your clients, and then put together something that gives them that, or gives them an insight into that.
And just to add to that, so that report that I think it was Paul that did that, five things to increase your sales within SaaS or whatever. If that's of interest, let us know. He did a video, didn't he? If I remember correctly.
A video. I'm not talking about Paul, but I think Paul did do a video. Yeah.
Yeah. So you could do a video. It just matter. But here's what it tells you: the people that request that, that's something they're interested in. And as Drew said, and yeah, we really want to emphasize this. Most recruiters think the only way to get business is through cold calling. And we would never say that cold calling doesn't work. What we would say is that cold calling in of itself is hard work, because you're calling, I don't know, 100 people to find the half a dozen people that may be interested. And I always compare it to, if your plumber was to call you at home saying, I'm your local plumber, have you got any leaks? If you're at home with your family, you get that call and you haven't got any leaks, it's a pain. And most people haven't got a leak at the time. If you get that call and you have got a leak, it's like, oh, thank goodness you called. I was just waiting for that call. But there aren't many people like that. And there aren't many hiring managers that saying, thank goodness you've called. I've been looking for a recruiter. So with this method, what it means is you're just calling people that are interested. And if you've made the offer to them and they're interested, and you then call them, it's no longer a cold call because you made that offer to them. You say, hi, my name's Mike. My name's Carsten, and you recently requested this report about blah, blah, blah. Do you remember? But you see that the conversation starts at a higher level. They're more so engaged with you and more so interested in listening to what you have to say. Anything to add to that, Drew?
So you'd put something together. So an irresistible offer, a resource that you put together for your clients that provides a solution to the problem that your candidates can solve, right? So a quick way to do this is if you go back to like your the last 5 candidates you placed, and you say, what outcomes is it that you provide to the organization, right? You can actually get it directly from the candidate, and they'll say, look, this is what I do, right? You can do literally an interview with them. Here's, let's say it's a salesperson, right? What 5 things do you do to increase the sales when you start working for an organization? And it might be, number 1, I do this. Number 3, I clean up the database. Number 4, I make more calls. Whatever it happens to be, right? We record that. Then you've got this resource. It's a free resource you can give to every single one of your potential clients. It's going to help them get the outcome they want. Again, Elke and everyone else want to check in. Does that make sense up to that point? Perfect. Right.
Yes, spot on, Elke. Yeah.
Perfect. Right. So
Such
we've got the resource, right? That's his irresistible offer, right? And that really brings us on to step five, which is lead capture, right? So we want to know every single one of our prospects who's interested in this resource, right? So what we do, we've got our market, we've got our message now, which is, hey, I've got this video that helps solve this problem, and we've got the media, and the media could be, could be your email database, could be LinkedIn messaging, could be, LinkedIn content you put out, could be Twitter or X as it's called now. Whatever it is, we take all the media that we've got to reach our ideal clients, and we offer the irresistible offer, right? We offer the video or the PDF or whatever it is. When they, in order for them to get the offer, to get the PDF, we need what was called a lead capture, right? We need some form of capturing, at the very least, their name and email address, but ideally their name, email address, telephone number, any details that we can use to contact them, right? So what we have now, if we've got lead capture working properly, and again, think about the form you filled out to join this webinar, right? That'd be a lead capture, right? We said, hey, look, we've got this irresistible offer, which is a webinar, or free training. If you want to get access to it, we need your name, email address, telephone number, right? So that's your lead capture. Again, someone check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. Terry, anything you want to add to that before I move on?
Yeah, capturing their details, because you want to know who's interested. And sometimes we talk to recruiters and they say, I've got something that I'm offering. I've got this free video and I've sent it out to all my prospects. The problem with sending it out like that is that you don't, unless you can find out who's interested. If you sent it out to 2,000 potential hiring managers, you don't know which of those 2,000 are actually interested. So you need to capture the details of those people who are actually interested, because they're the ones you want to be calling. So these have a trade-off. We give them a great free information, we get their contact details, and you've got this. Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
I was going to quickly show my screen, show an example of it, right? So this is one of our clients used a while back, right? So the irresistible offer is the free report, definitive guide to selecting an executive search firm in food ingredients in 2024, right? Again, so I wouldn't use this title per se if I was going to advise them again, because it's more about recruitment. I'll talk about the outcome that his candidates do, right? But again, same concept. If anyone is interested in this, we can probably guess that they're interested in hiring a executive search firm in food ingredients this year, 2024, right? So anyone that's interested in this report is probably interested in perfect, right? So he sends them this via LinkedIn, email, whatever, any media that he's got. In order for them to get access to it, they need to enter their details here, right? Lead capture form, right? Which is, again, that's basically it, right? Simple as it sounds. We create lots of these irresistible offers, use the media that we've got to reach our ideal market with the right message, and get them to give us their details and let us know who's interested, right? So rather than cold calling random people, which is what a lot of recruiters do, we take that same list that we would cold call, make this offer to them, and then out let's say a list of 1,000, then let's say out of that 1,000, 20 of them get this report. Rather than calling the whole 1,000, we're just going to focus on that 20 and turning them into rider prospects. Again, so on check-ins, that makes sense. Give us yes or no in the chat box. Right, so just to recap while you're doing that, we've got market, message, media, irresistible offer, lead capture, what went through. Then we've got number 6, which is short-term follow-up, right? Which is basically, as I sort of touched on, we are going to reach everyone everyone whose details we've captured as a lead. We are going to follow up with them with a phone call, with email, with text message, with LinkedIn. We're going to try, now we want to get a sales appointment with those, right? Again, so I'm checking, does that make sense? And Terry, anything you want to add? Quick question from Adam here. What platform do you suggest to use for lead capture? Again, so let me just give you the website for what we recommend to all of our clients. We're going to mention that at the end, right? It's a tool called placementbox/placementbox.io. I'm going to put the link in the chat box now. Placementbox.io is what I'd recommend. They can do your email marketing. They can help you build a page like we just saw, the lead capture. And they do social media posts, social media schedules on there. Basically, anything that we spoke about today, they do. So that's placementbox.io. They don't do LinkedIn automation, but everything else I'd take a look at. Terry, anything you'd add to that?
No, and yeah, full disclosure, Placement Box, a lot of our clients use it and get some great results. And you can actually, if you click on the link, you can use it yourself at no cost as well for a month, just to try it out. So it's well worth putting it to test. But it's one that we know works and gets great results for our clients.
Yeah, so we've got short-term follow-up. So again, I just want to quickly recap to make sure we're on the same page, right? Any questions, let me know as well. We've got step number 1 is market. You have the right market, right people, the right roles. Number 2, message. Number 3, media. So what platforms are going to use to reach these people? Number 4, irresistible offer. something we can give away in exchange for their details. So that's where 5 comes in, lead capture. Got 6, short-term follow-up, right? Speed to lead is very important, right? We want to be calling these people the second, ideally, that they enter their details in, right? As quick as we can get to them, the better, right? So short-term follow-up. 7, we've got long-term follow-up, right? So the reality is that most people, and you probably have this now, most people that you speak to on the phone or become a lead or somehow raise their hand, they're not in the buying pattern right now. Not going to buy right now, right? They're going to be more long term. They're going to buy over the long term, right? And this step 7 is especially important if you want to win more retainers and more exclusives, which is again we talk about this another time. It's something I'd recommend rather than working contingency, competing against other firms. If you can lock that deal down exclusively, so it's only you working on it, it's better, right? And the way to do that is we need to speak to the client or the hiring manager before they start the hiring process rather than afterwards. So again, one of the mistakes a lot of you will make with your marketing right now is that we're reaching out to people after they begin the hiring process, which is when most recruiters reach out to them. So we're cold calling them and they're speaking to us and 10 of our competitors, right? Again, not saying you can't win business that way, you certainly can, but it's what I call bad business. And when I say bad business, I just mean they're harder roles to fill, not because you're a bad recruiter, but because there's other good recruiters or even bad recruiters working on the same vacancies. If we can, for our recruiters we help, if we can get them to lock it in exclusively or retain so they get paid up front, even better. Their fill rate jumps from 30% is in industry norms to sort of 80-90% plus, right? And step 7 is really important for locking that in, which we call long-term follow-up. We've got step 6, short-term follow-up, which is immediate outreach, and then step 7, long-term follow-up, which is more where your long-term nurture sequence comes in. So again, the way I recommend doing this is with, if you need to send like weekly emails, an email every week to your ideal clients. Podcast, another way to do this. If you've done a weekly podcast where you maybe interview other successful professionals, so candidates in your market, people that your clients will be interested in hearing from. Another way to long-term follow up. So you want to stay top of mind, right? Your goal should be that you are the first person that your clients think of when they're ready to buy. And follow up is key to doing that, right? Again, so I want to check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And Terry, anything you want to add to that?
I think the thing that perhaps I haven't touched on is that one of the reasons that there's the number of reasons why clients aren't buying from you. One is they haven't got a need. If they haven't got a need, they don't know you, like you, or trust you. And the reason I bring this up is that it's not a case of, having this client magnet, this offer, capturing their details, and they're going to come running to you with their card in their hands, wanting to buy from you. You've still got to form and cultivate that relationship. So the short-term follow-up and the long-term is just doing that. And the beauty is you can automate this. You can send them a series of emails. You can send them a series of videos, the podcast, and all the things that Drew talked about. But what it does do, it helps cultivate that relationship. Because if you've touched them with high-value content, no hard sell, but giving them as much high-value content as possible, that also positions you as the authority in your market, you can appreciate how much easier it is. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to make it easy for the hiring manager to engage you rather than any of your competitors. If you're a complete stranger, and let's say you're recruiting at the senior end, we've got some of our clients, getting fees of 40, 50. In fact, one of our clients is getting a fee of 100,000. You're not going to spend 100,000 or 10,000 or 40,000 with a complete stranger that you've never met before. You don't even know who they are. So all this is to cultivate that relationship. And we often joke about it. It's a bit like dating. You don't go out on the first date and say, "Great, you're fantastic, let's get married." Because the person thinks, "Are you crazy? We've just met." And it's the same with the market as well. You can't expect for them to, because you're giving your details, that they're now going to sign on the dotted line to give you some retained business or whatever. So this is all part of it. The short and long term follow up is where you're going to nurture that relationship. Hope that all makes sense. Let me know. In fact, let me know if it makes sense, because I want to make sure that we're
give us yes and jump makes sense. So come to some of your questions. So Elke, I'll come to you. I'll get your second question first, right? So Elke's question is: what frequency would you suggest for short-term/long-term email follow-ups? Would you suggest additional value adds over the short or duration of the formula or flurries and the rest of the periods? So I'll try and answer that the best I can. If I don't sort of get it nailed on, I'll just rephrase the question, right? So in terms of short-term follow-up, right? So short-term follow-up is like, let's call it the first 14 days of someone entering, becoming the lead, like raising the hand and being a lead, right? In that period, like our goal is with our clients is to get them on the phone as soon as possible. So there it's a bit more aggressive. So we're sending, maybe even daily emails, maybe regular, maybe daily calls saying, hey, look, saw you watch this video, saw you request this thing. Look, let's set up a time to speak about, how we can help you do that, right? So it's a bit more aggressive. Long-term follow-up, again, so we have different style, right? So we do it quite frequently. So we do daily emails and we do weekly podcasts and we've got Facebook groups and we've got LinkedIn stuff. So we do it a lot. You might not be able to do that now, depending on your team size, right? So this is why it varies depending on what market you're in, the team size. At the very least, what I'd say to do is, and it's for everybody here as well, long-term follow-up, I'd say commit to doing a weekly podcast. And a podcast doesn't have to be anything complex. It could be you interviewing one of your candidates or you interviewing one of your clients about what makes them good at what they do. Right, this is going to be something that all of your clients and your candidates will be interested in. Do a weekly podcast, record it, obviously get it in video format, whack it on YouTube every week, send that video out to your ideal clients. That'll be your long-term follow-up. But then track everyone, and again, you can do this replacement box, track everyone that watches the video. So if let's say I'm a rectorate recruiter, right? It's easy and something we understand, right? I'd interview a candidate about how they build £1 million over the last 12 months, right? So interview that candidate, what do you do? What did you learn? Blah, blah, blah. I then send it out to my list. Obviously, all my candidates and all my clients will be interested in that. What makes a top biller, right? They'll be interested in that. Anyone that watches that video, I know that they're interested in finding the top biller or being a top biller, right? So I'm going to reach out to all of them. They then fall back into short-term follow-up. Hey, Terry, saw you watched the video we did last week with John, who's $1 million biller. Are you interested in bringing in $1 million biller to your team? Yes. Okay, great. Let's book a call. You know what I mean? So that's what I'll be doing consistently. And then, yeah, sorry, just check in, Elke. Did that answer your question, first of all? Give me yes or no. And anyone else got any questions? Do you not feel like a stalker when they refer to the fact they watch video? No. I personally don't. But then again, we have a team making outbound calls. But it works really well. That the quicker my ideal scenario is that one of our setters calls them as they're watching a video, because then we always get the appointment. The danger is when it's been a week, 2 weeks, and they forget that they've watched it. So the speed to lead is very, very important when it comes to getting sales meetings with hiring managers.
And just to add to that, just recently I was on Facebook and I was looking at garden furniture, and one of the there was an advert put in front of me on Facebook where it said, "Complete this form and get your complete guide to garden furniture." Now, we're marketeers, and I knew exactly what they were doing, so I filled in the details. So that's for my name, my telephone number, and my email address. Literally I'd say within an hour, I got a phone call wanting to arrange an appointment to come round and measure up for the garden furniture. You say stalking, that's the norm now. Same with the I got on a camera doorbell, rather. Exactly the same. They offered the free camera doorbell. Had to complete a form, completed the form. Probably within 30 minutes, again, somebody called me saying, the doorbell's on its way. What we're also doing, we'd like to do a measure up your home for a burglar alarm as well. And, some people here talk about the discomfort in doing it. Here's something worth considering. You don't have to do it, but the thing worth considering is what happens if your competitors start doing this, but you don't, and you keep doing the methods that you're doing now and getting the results you're getting, because these are just the modern methods. That's all it is. And it's always your choice what you decide to do. And all I can say is I would encourage you to do what works. And if you're fearful of annoying people, what's more annoying, calling somebody that you know is interested, or cold calling a complete stranger and trying to persuade them to listen to what you have to say?
Calling me old.
Call you old. Not calling you old. I would never do that. I would never.
What I'd add to this is right as well, right? Is, and again, but by the way, any concern that any of you have, like we had the same thing, right? Before we start doing it. What I'd add is what's more important isn't frequency, is value, right? So is someone knocking on your door and handing you a penny every day? Not annoying. It'll get annoying, right? But is someone knocking on your door and handing you $1,000, £1,000 every day? Is that annoying? No. Right. So it's not about how frequent you send these things out. It's about, am I providing value to my ideal clients? If you're providing value, then there's not really a problem with frequency. Because going back to the analogy of £1,000, $1,000, I'd prefer someone knock on my doors, 10 times a day, give me $1,000 each time. Right? It's not gonna annoy me. right? So again, it's more about value rather than frequency. But again, I get the fear, I get the sort of the discomfort. But again, a mentor of mine once said that the more things you can find, more things you can do that are uncomfortable, and the more things you'll find that your competitors aren't willing to do, and that's where the money is. So it's good when you find it uncomfortable because it means that the 10, 20, 50 firms you're competing against, they'll find it uncomfortable and they're not going to do it. And that's where you get the edge. Okay, someone check in. Does that make sense? Give me a yes or no in the chat box. And any other questions, let me know as well.
Yeah, and just that's what you said there, Drew. All of you are here at some level. You're ambitious. You want to do better than you're doing now. To do better than what you're doing now means that you have to come outside your current comfort zone, because you're operating with your comfort zone got you to where you are now. To achieve greater things does involve coming outside your comfort zone. So it will create that discomfort. And if it's not creating that discomfort, clearly it's not outside your comfort zone. And the concerns that you guys have just flagged up, I promise you, every single one of our clients flags it up at the beginning. I absolutely promise you, it's the norm. I'm surprised if somebody doesn't flag it up. But the guys that can embrace it get the best results. Thanks, Drew.
Cool. Any questions? Let me know in the chat box. Again, just to remind you to go check out placementbox.io. It's a great tool. We use it, and all the emails that you got from us promoting this webinar will be from there as well. We use it all the time. But any questions, let us know. If not, then we'll wrap up. For anyone who's interested in implementing these methods into their business, I was going to put a link in the chat box as well. If you go to makemoreplacements.com/call, you can book a call with one of our specialists who can sort of again ask you a few more questions about your business specifically and maybe give you a few pointers as to how it will work for you. So that's makemoreplacements.com/call. Just a 15-minute brainstorming session. Now, again, they're experts. I'll sit down with you and probably give you one of our free trainings as well to help you out. So that's makemoreplacements.com/call. Again, any other questions before we wrap up? If not, thanks a lot for your time. Terry, thanks for the input, as always.
Not at all. Thank you very much for joining us today, folks. So we're here to give you as much value as possible. So if you enjoyed this, share this with your friends and your colleagues. We'll be around again, I guess, in about a month's time with more content. Until next time, folks, take care, take action, be relentless.